You're about to step into a review. A review for the Twilight Zone. When we get back, we're going to really dive into the first two episodes from Jordan Peele's executive produced and hosted CBS All Access Twilight Zone. But before we get to the review, if you're new around these parts, I just want to say hello, hi, I am Zombie Chris. Welcome to my channel. We cover everything from horror news to theme park stuff to Halloween Horror Nights, all sorts of stuff on this channel. We even have a podcast. So if any of that sounds very interesting, stick around, watch a couple more videos. If you like what you see, go ahead and make sure to click thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you did already, thank you. And so it is finally April 1st. I've been waiting for Twilight Zone to drop. This is finally here. It's on CBS All Access. And I know a lot of people were really confused about this and they're saying, why isn't it on TV? CBS All Access is their way of competing with Hulu and Netflix and their original programming. So this is only exclusively on CBS All Access. And right now, if you're a new customer, you can get a free 1-week trial. So there's two different platforms you can choose for this software, or their All Access. There's two tiers, basically. One tier is going to be $5.99, I believe, and you get basically all access, but it's limited with limited commercials, basically. Sort of how Hulu was when it first started out. And then you have the $9.99 tier, which is commercial free, and it allows you to download episodes of the shows so you can watch offline or whatever. So, but do be aware you're going to have more so a Wi-Fi connection for that, or else it would probably take forever to download an episode. So when you start out, you can choose either one. It doesn't matter. If I was you, I would just choose the $9.99 one, and then you can switch the plan if you want to, which is probably what I plan to do. I don't really care too much about having a few commercials thrown in there if it's going to be cheaper. So I'm probably going to switch to that plan. You can switch at any time. You can cancel anytime. They make it very easily. I signed up for CBS All Access I think like a year or two ago, and it was very simple to just pop in, watch what I wanted to watch, and then cancel, I think like the next month over. So the original Twilight Zone aired back in 1959 through 1964. And a lot of people don't know this, but it's probably one of my all-time favorite shows to watch. It probably goes in my top 10 list of favorite shows to marathon, especially when Sci-Fi runs an all-day marathon. I could just lay on the couch and watch each episode nonstop. And I always see something either new or something I didn't notice the first time around, which is really, really cool. And just this show has such a profound history embedded in TV. Like I said, we had the 1959 TV series, and then it came back in 1985. It had a TV series, and then it came back in Twilight Zone in 2002 was a TV series. They even had the Twilight Zone movie as well. And that brings us to 2019. Twilight Zone is back. Really more modern-esque, and you can tell it just right off the bat. So basically right now there's two episodes streaming. So there's The Comedian, and then there is Nightmare at 30,000 feet. And so they'll have, I think, one new episode every Monday. There's 10 episodes total, and already I've seen the first two, so I'm just going to dive into the review on those. I was obviously hyped about this because Jordan Peele was behind this. Who else wouldn't be very hyped about Jordan Peele being behind this project? He was executive producer, as well as he's our host into the Twilight Zone. I'll start with Jordan Peele first and knock that out of the way. He does a fantastic job as our host. He comes in, it's very smooth. When he does come in, it's really kind of like it brightens up the story. Not that he does anything to add or take away from the story. It's just really kind of cool when you see him pop in. Now, the first episode is called The Comedian. And I'll just talk about the positives first. It's shot particularly well. The colors, the camera angles, everything about the cinematography, at least on the first 2 episodes of Twilight Zone, it's really like a wonder to see CBS pull out something like this. As in comparison, that you have Netflix shows and Hulu shows, it looks like it's top tier along with those. Like you don't really notice any of a difference between the 2, programs or the networks. Without revealing too much, because I don't want to ruin any kind of twist in the Twilight Zone episodes, I'll just say I thought this one was a little bit long. When I first started, I noticed it was over 50 minutes. I was thinking, I guess, is every episode going to be, 50 minutes? And the second episode is, I think it's around 35 minutes. So it's a little bit shorter and perfect, in my opinion, as far as the timestamp. This one went on way too long, in my opinion. Once you figure out and once you see the twist, you kind of can tell where it's going to go from there. And then you're just kind of bored in many ways of just watching the pacing and the moments go through each moment, because you kind of can figure out where it's going to go in the end. I call it very early on of where the last moments of this was going to go. So for me, it was not that great of an episode. I like that it was the first episode because they knocked that out of the way very, very quickly. That way we can move on to each episode be better, in my opinion, hopefully going forward. I'm really hoping that's how it goes forward. But yeah, The Comedian, not particularly that good, in my opinion. Then we move on to Nightmare at 30,000 Feet, which you might think it's sort of an homage. Well, I mean, really it is an homage to the older episode with, I believe, William Shatner and about the creature being on the plane. But they updated it and they did some twist in there involving some new technology. This one was far better than the first episode. I thought this would have been just a great one to kick it off with. It's very short. It's very simple. It's not very twisting. You're not feeling that very eerie feeling or very scary at any moment. It just kind of goes through the paces. It's a nice packaged episode. What's very interesting with the Twilight Zone is being that it's such a classic TV series that profounded a lot of like TV series to come after that, that we've got, and even ones today. It's interesting to see them try to combat Channel Zero and Black Mirror that we have nowadays, which are widely more popular than I think Twilight Zone coming back. So for CBS to get Jordan Peele behind this project was simply a smart move on their behalf. Now we will have to see once episodes go on if this is a contender with those other shows, because those other shows have done things a little bit more graphic and a little bit more weird and scary, especially in our digital modern age. Twilight Zone tries to update some things, at least in the first 2 episodes. We try to see them touch with a modern twist, but it's missing, I think, that very eerie factor. And in The Comedian, the first episode, I was surprised at how much cussing there was in that episode. There is some vulgar stuff said in that episode. That really surprised me. It's going to be interesting to see if they take it a bit more extreme with the future episodes, if it's going to get a little more graphic to try to compete with like Channel Zero. And there's one more thing I want to talk about is the fact that what they showed going forward with each episode, they have so many well-known actors and people you're like, that guy's from The Walking Dead, that guy's from this, that guy's from that, or she's from this, she's from that. And the thing, at least from me watching it years later, you know, the 1950s version, is that everybody seemed like they were kind of up and coming actors and actresses, or they weren't so popular. And as opposed to the Twilight Zone today, where they cast people we know, it kind of takes you out of the story just a little bit. If their acting is not superb, you remember that, oh, that's just this guy. Like, you're not believing that it's that character. That's what separates, obviously, good actors and actresses, is when you believe they're that character and they're not just the actor playing that character. So it's going to be interesting to go forward with this and see how having stars in this, as opposed to maybe up and coming kind of smaller actors and unwell known people, will do a disservice, or will it raise the stakes for this going forward? That's my opinions on the Twilight Zone episode 1 and 2. Let me know if you guys enjoy this, and I will do a weekly review on at least each episode that comes forward. If not, I'll just do a roundup at the end and give my final thoughts on season 1 of Twilight Zone. If you guys watched it, leave your thoughts down below as well. Leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Peace out.